Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop a comment, and click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live. Waterloo, you can sponsor me anytime you want. Got another orange vanilla going on here. Guys, hope you had a nice weekend. The sun is finally coming out here in South Florida. Dear God, it was a depressing week last week, at least from with the way the weather was concerned. Definitely stayed indoors all weekend, so looking forward to hopefully weather maybe looks like might be taking a turn for the better this coming weekend. Juan, welcome in. Oof, let's fucking go. Guys, let's cut right to the chase of what we're looking to do today, all right? I come out here, these past several weeks while this price action has been going on, if you follow me on Twitter, you know my thoughts, or X, whatever you want to call it. I can't stop calling it Twitter. We've been ranging. We've been ranging for 100 days, okay? And I could come out here and I could regurgitate the same bullshit to you, and we could talk about key price levels. But at some point, you're beating a dead horse, right? I mean, at some point, you can only talk about the key price levels for so long. We need to come up with something different to talk about, right? Key punchline for you to understand is nothing has changed in the charts. And again, one of the things that I really hone in on and I try to keep you current on is high time frame views. Really trying to zoom out and focus on the higher time frame perspective. Because again, if all you're going to do is pay attention to the 12-hour chart, or all you're going to do is pay attention to even a daily chart, if that's kind of what you're focused on, especially if you're newer to the market, man, you're going to get fucking eaten up in this market. And so I think one of the best things we can do, given that I've kind of set up the playbook for you. If you've been paying attention to the views that I've shared with you, I set up the playbook for you in terms of what you should be looking for. We don't need to keep talking about it. So instead, because nothing has changed and we're just ranging right now, I thought, hey, we need to come up with something different to talk about this week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, as always, keep things unemotional and empirically driven, data driven on this channel. And we're going to set an ambitious goal of going through the majority of the coins within the top 100. I'm going to go outside of the top 100 as well, hit on some projects that I've spoken to in the past, like your Digibyte, your Harmony ones, that are not within the top 100, Alchemy Pay, and kind of have an honest conversation in terms of their relative strength. We'll see how many we can get through this week. If it bleeds into next week, we might have to. Again, I definitely want to get through the top 50, but I'm setting an ambitious goal of, again, getting through the top 100. We're not going to hit on every coin, right? We might not hit on something like Zcash if it's in the top 100, or Bitcoin SV or whatever the fuck it is. I forget. So we might not hit on those projects, but we're going to hit on the majority of the ones that all of you would be most interested in. And again, but just a disclaimer, guys, before we get into this analysis, it's going to be very straightforward and very simple. Some of these charts we're going to pull up, and it's going to be a very quick decision in terms of assessing the overall strength of the chart. We're not going to spend 5 minutes on each chart, but it's important to understand, as an example, that CASPA, although when we do get to CASPA and we assess the relative strength in that chart, if something fundamentally changes within the chart, my view as a data-driven individual is going to change, right? I'm not expressing to you through this analysis my view of a particular project. It's literally just a chart. I'm not even paying attention to the ticker symbol. I'm just speaking to the chart itself. So take your little emotions and your little fundamental views of a project and you think it's going to change the world. I always think of XRP when I think about this. Throw that shit out the window, and we're just going to take a look at the chart. And again, this is going to be a very straightforward analysis, and the hope or the aim for this analysis, like what are we actually hoping to accomplish by assessing the relative strength within these altcoins within the top 100? Guys, I've told you before, I don't know if it's going to be next week, next month, or 6 weeks from now. We are on the precipice of a massive expansion within the altcoin market. So what this analysis should tell you is, with a higher degree of conviction, the altcoins that are going to outpace the relative altcoin movements, right? You're going to have stronger performers and weaker performers. A rising tide lifts all boats. So as Bitcoin, and I've said this so many times before, as Bitcoin goes up to the $80,000, $90,000 mark, and then Ethereum looks like it's going to break its all-time high before Solana, it's setting its new all-time highs, and money and confidence begin to flood back into the altcoin space, which is going to happen. It's what history tells us. Is that you're going to, as much as everything's going to rise, your stronger charts are going to outperform your weaker charts. It doesn't matter what your narrative is, guys. Like, open up your eyes if you haven't been here for a while. The chart is going to tell you the relative strength in a project and the likelihood that it's going to outperform other projects. That is what we're hoping to accomplish today. Guys, hit the thumbs up if you appreciate the unbiased, empirically driven analysis that I'm about to provide you with. Let's first take a look at ETH BTC. Again, the way we're going to assess this, because I haven't specifically spoken to it, we're taking a real simple view, guys. What we're going to do to assess overall strength within said altcoin, we are literally just going to chart the altcoin against Bitcoin. Why are we doing that? CBG, why aren't you looking at the USD pairing? Well, again, you can look at the USD pairing, right? And that's one way you can look at things. But if you truly want to assess the strength within an altcoin, you're going to assess its price movements relative to the king cryptocurrency project, Bitcoin. Has the said altcoin been performing poorly, fair, or extremely well against Bitcoin? That is going to tell you with a high degree of confidence what you can expect going into year end. Okay? That should hopefully make sense to you guys. So again, looking at Ethereum here, what I would say, if we want to actually zoom out and look at this, a lot of price data here. So again, zooming out on a monthly time frame, we can see that we set a lower high in 2021 and 22 relative to our top here in 18. But we've been coiling up massively here in some consolidation. We've recently dipped and had a range deviation, okay, to this area of support that I've spoken to. Overall, this is an extremely strong chart. Now, it's not strong in terms of setting new all-time highs in 2021 and 22, but all things considered, especially when you compare this to other altcoins and you just look at the chart itself, this is in a nice tight consolidation range. This, to me, has a high likelihood of this ending up being a range deviation and us moving to the upside. Sure, we could dip down. I'm not saying we couldn't. But this chart overall, to me, says that this Ethereum has a very strong likelihood of continuing to push up going into 2025 and perhaps reaching some of these higher price levels. So I like the strength that I'm seeing on the Ethereum BTC chart. Let's take a look at the Sol BTC chart, Solana BTC. It's the next crypto up. Of course, I should take a look at Binance, right? Again, real nice strength coming in here. Now, when Solana came into the market back in 2000 and really, it came into the scene here, as you can see, in 2021. We set an all-time high up here. We haven't broken that yet. But we've come down here, massive consolidation. We've since broken up. And what are we doing right now? What I really love to see on this chart, on a lot of weaker altcoins, what you will see is when you have a downward area of resistance like this and we break up, you see some sort of break, eventually you see it being essentially a dead cat bounce and we roll over, right? And we set new lows. That's not what's going on here. What I love to see in this chart and why I'm convicted that it's a stronger altcoin pairing, you're literally coming up to this area and you're back testing all this prior price confluence and you're back testing what was once resistance is now support. That's what you should do in any strong chart, okay? You back test an area of resistance once you've broken it, you come down and you back test it as support, that prior area of resistance. I love what I'm seeing here. This chart to me, again, we're looking at this on a 2-week. The Solana BTC pairing looks very favorable for continued possible appreciation outpacing Bitcoin going into the end of this year. Let's see if we have a Let's see if we have a BNB. We don't. Okay, let me see if I can, hold on a second. We'll make a copy of this, and we'll call it blank BTC. We're going to have to do these with a lot of them. We're going to have to just take a quick look at the pairing. So far, Ethereum and Solana look very good, which shouldn't be surprising because they are your bigger altcoins in the space. Of course, BNB is as well. BNB's been around for a while. We should get a lot of good price data here. Let's look at this on a monthly. So what are we seeing on Binance? Binance is looking extremely healthy. And again, this is why when all this FUD came out in 2023, and you can go back to my tweets and you can read what I was posting. There was nothing wrong with this chart. In fact, if you recall, we looked at the USD pairing for Binance and said, we just fell out of downward resistance. We came down and back tested it as support. We flipped that resistance into support as I had theorized we would, and we continued moving up, right? That's why you ignore the news, right? You don't want to be part of the herd. General uptrend here, beautiful to see. Now, one of the things I really like to see here is look at what Binance did that Ethereum did not do. As you can see here, in 2018-19, we created a high here that was superseded in 2021 and 23. We've continued to set higher highs and higher lows. I have to say, of any of the Bitcoin pairings so far, Ethereum, Solana, and Binance, Binance is by far the strongest Bitcoin pairing chart that we've assessed so far. There's absolutely no question. Look at this thing continuing. Again, we don't have to spend a lot of time on these charts. We have higher lows and higher highs coming in year over year. How are you not bullish on this chart? What this is telling me is Binance is poised for continued upside appreciation that's going to outpace Bitcoin. Binance BTC is looking real good. What's next up? This is going to trigger some people because this is not going to be pretty. I'm actually going to pull up a blank chart on this one. Guys, XRP BTC, can we have an honest conversation? There is no community that is perhaps more... that has gotten a bad rap because there are delusional people in the space that take advantage of people who have no clue what they're doing. I want to get off that scam wick. Shit. That wick's going to fuck up our auto scale. Well, regardless, this is on, we'll keep it on Bitfinex. Now, you look at this pairing and you tell me if you see something that's bullish here. Guys, come on. I mean, really, this is XRP BTC. What are we in general saying here? A high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, a double top. We're just fucking plummeting. A low, a lower low, double bottom. This chart to me is telling me not only has XRP depreciated in value relative to Bitcoin, there's nothing in this chart that is telling me that it's going to outpace Bitcoin in the long run. There's absolutely nothing in this chart that is telling me it's going to flip Ethereum for all the delusional people out there. Now, one of the things, and we could chart this against Ethereum, which we're not going to at the moment. One of the things that people really will miss, some of you have the risk of missing if I don't explicitly state this, so please listen carefully. I'm not telling you, please hear what I'm saying, because some people will say, oh, when XRP hits $1.50 or $2, see CBG, XRP's going to the moon, it's outpacing Bitcoin. Guys, I'm not telling you going into 2025 that from current USD values, I think XRP is, let's take a look. XRP is sitting at 50 cents. Okay, it's actually up 4% today. I'm not telling you that XRP's USD value won't outpace Bitcoin. It's probably a bad way to set up the live stream actually at the top, because what these charts aren't telling you are necessarily that a USD value won't outpace Bitcoin in the shorter term. It's really a longer term view in terms of, that's a better way to state it. These charts are telling us from a longer term perspective view. There are really two things. Follow me here. Sorry. Rambling here. two main things we want to take away from these views. One, what's our longer-term view in terms of the relative health of the altcoins we're looking at? And number two, based on the chart setups, which are their more favorable or less favorable charts in general, because that will tell us which charts will outpace or underpace, that I'm creating a word, other altcoins, right? Meaning if we have a weaker Bitcoin pairing a chart, like an XRP chart, XRP BTC, there's greater potential for XRP to underperform relative to something else that we chart, like a Solana, that has a healthier Bitcoin relativity chart, right? But what people miss from this is I'm not telling you that based on this really weak chart that we can't, like, this is a key point. I don't want anyone to miss this, because someone is going to come out of this live stream and hit me up 3 months from now when XRP is at like $1.50, right? I'm not telling you, just based real quick on technical analysis here, that XRP BTC will not come back up into this range, because most likely it will, right? So you're talking about a potential appreciation to Bitcoin of 300%, right? So it's very possible that in this chart we could get another dead cat bounce. We could come up to here, appreciate against Bitcoin by 300%, but ultimately, because the chart is bearish, all signs are pointing to us rolling over and just continuing to fade that and go lower. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the short term, yes, XRP, I expect in the shorter term XRP to outpace Bitcoin. I expect it to go up higher in value today relative to Bitcoin for 2025 or whenever the end of this cycle is, okay? But in the longer term, this is not a healthy chart. This is not something you want to hold on to longer term relative to Bitcoin. It's not doing well. And what this relativity chart is also telling you is that this is a really weak performer relative to a lot of other altcoin pairings that we've already even looked at. I'm hoping this makes sense. So XRP BTC, this is not looking pretty, all right? Let's take a look at what is next on the list. Doge BTC. So Doge BTC, let's take a fresh view at this. Okay, so far, I mean, I don't know what you see, but I see a bull flag. This, to me, based on the movement, the higher high that we saw come in here. Of course, for a while we had lower highs, right? This was not very bullish. We were losing value against Bitcoin. Look at this. For a while we were bleeding. Then we saw a massive breakup. And since we've been consolidating, to me, on the one hand, while there have been lower highs coming in here, right? If we looked at Solana, right? Binance. Remember we looked at Binance and it created higher highs and higher lows year over year. That had a healthier chart than this. Even though we're setting in lower highs, you can see yearly since 2021. The thing I love about this chart is we have a pole. You see the pole here? And we have a pennant. There is a massive potential bull flag panning out in the Doge BTC relativity chart. What I would say about this chart, I actually really like this relativity chart. As long as we hold relative values right around here, I think your Doge BTC is looking pretty right about there. So this zone right in here I want to hold. If we start dropping below this relativity value, then I would have some concerns. But right now, this is healthy consolidation that to me looks like it's coiling up for potential expansion upwards. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So Doge BTC looks pretty good. Toncoin, probably not a lot of price data there. Let's see what we got. Ton BTC, Bitfinex. Not enough price data, guys. I can't really do an analysis on this. I would say in the shorter term, we look really good. We've got a double bottom here. This is actually a W formation, and we're setting new highs here, but there's just not enough price data. I can't really give an opinion on Ton BTC. Not enough price data. Cardano. Let's take a look at ADA BTC. Last I looked, this one was bleeding too, and it's kind of a similar story to XRP. Yeah, this is not what you want to see. So again, you know, you got the lower highs coming in, right? You got lower highs 18 relative to 21. This is really a double top. I would actually call this a double top. We kind of double topped in 21 relative to 18. So I'll at least give it that we came up to old all-time highs here, essentially. I'll give it that. But since then, we've been fading down. And the thing that you should take from this is, a takeaway from this is, if you've just been holding on to Cardano and you're some sort of maximalist in this project, which is why it's good to be diversified, do I expect a dead cat bounce here and eventually come up to at least retest somewhere around here? Yeah, I do. And we'll have significant appreciation against Bitcoin during that time. But guys, if you were emotional and a maximalist with this project, similar to XRP, and you held this entire time, there are so many altcoins, and we just pointed some out, that have appreciated at a higher rate than Bitcoin, meaning they've gone up higher in value than Bitcoin for the past several years. Had you invested in any of them, your portfolio would be much higher today than it would be if you just held on to Cardano, okay? So I like that we at least in 21 came up to double top here, which is not what a lot of other altcoins tend to do that are older. But the weakness here, the relative weakness, like this chart has to show me something. I don't want to start losing. I mean, quite honestly, I don't want to go much lower than this region right here. We don't have much downside left, right? I would look for a bottoming if we get down here, this to be a bottoming zone. But again, will we see a bounce to the upside that will outpace Bitcoin in the short term? Sure, I do see that. But again, longer term, kind of assessing this chart, this is not the healthiest picture we want to see. Again, if you want the staple chart, you guys want the staple chart, this is the staple chart. The best chart we've evaluated so far. I mean, look at this thing. Higher highs, higher lows. This is in general what you want to see. This is an extremely healthy altcoin. This is something you want to hold for the longer term. Something that looks like this is not what you want to hold for the longer term, okay? We get a little short rise in price and then we just bleed for several years. Not good. I'm going to pause shortly and see who we have in the comments here. Let me see. I think I actually have a SHIB. Really? Sushi BTC? No, I want SHIB. All right, let's check out Shiba Inu, and then we're gonna pause to see who we have in the live stream because I haven't even looked, to be honest with you guys. I'm trying to get through a lot of these. Yeah, if you guys have been on the channel for a while, you recognize the shirt. I haven't worn this in a while. Do you even lift? By the way, I think I had mentioned to you that I have a treadmill underneath my desk. I've been getting steps in the day while I'm working. And during some meetings, very beneficial so far. I'm noticing some changes to my body, but also, I mean, like I've been averaging about 70 minutes to 90 minutes of walking while I'm at work, just by being at my desk. I would really implore you guys to check it out if you have a desk job. So, not the healthiest of charts. This goes back from 20. You can see since 22. Yeah, I'm not. The Doge BTC to me looks a lot healthier. Again, there's this general downtrend in play, right? This is not really what you want to see. General downtrend in play, right? Lower highs coming in. Now, this to me, again, the stronger reaction after coming up as high as we did on Shiba Inu here would be to try to hold better market structure here. We're starting to bleed a little bit more than I'd like to see. Let's see how far we've retraced on the Fibonacci retracement level. We came down to the 0.618. All right, but still, really want to hold current market structure right here. I'm not really... let me see. I want to hold this line right here. If we start to lose that, you know, we can create a nice little range right there. But this one, again, this is not the strongest of performers or something you'd want to hold on to longer term. Again, as Bitcoin starts to break out towards 80, 85, 90,000, would I expect some sort of a bleed here, find support, and then for us to rally and outpace during alt season Bitcoin? Yes. But again, when you compare this to other altcoin charts and you think about holding this for the long term, not the best of charts. Let's see who we have in the comments here. What's up, Mazda? Welcome in, Track. Good to see you. You've consolidated most of your portfolio into Wojak. Well, your risk tolerance must be very, very, very high to have done that. Wojak, and that's one of the ones I'm actually going to chart for you guys because I want to go through some of the meme coins. But Wojak, as I had stated, is sort of my dark horse play. I've told you guys, and I'm very transparent. I just feel like I'm missing something. If you search memes for crypto and you search memes in general, I feel that it's at least equal, that Wojak comes up as common as Pepe. So I just think we need a little bit of time and patience for the narrative to sort of play out within Wojak to catch some momentum. Chart looks good, by the way, on both the Bitcoin pairing as well as the USD pairing. So I think there is great potential there, possibly, especially the longer this sort of cycle goes on. But again, it's a very high risk play, very high beta. So you really, really need to be careful there. Jasmine, yeah, we can take a look at that. That's in the top 100. We'll get there. Josh, welcome in. It's good to see you. Ricky as well. We'll take a look at Cass, obviously. We're running up against time here. I want to keep trying to get through these charts for today. I want to at least get to the top 20. James, welcome in. James, were you the one that recommended the... Let me see, because I snapshotted. Yeah, I have a bone to pick with the person who recommended these films. Hold on. Who the hell was that? Because I took a photo, because I did watch a movie, and I did want to share my thoughts on something. So, as I had shared with you, I stayed in. James, it was you. Was it you? No, it was DCF. DCF, I don't know if you're in the house, but DCF recommended a few movies, and I ended up watching Red Eye. And I will sum it up to you like this. The movie started out decent, then it started to get really slow and methodical, then it started to get super predictable, then it got boring. Then I got off the couch and I was like, well, I better get in bed. I'm going to start falling asleep. I didn't even watch the very ending of the movie. The ending sort of like tailed off. And I was like, this isn't even worth it. So it was not a good recommendation. And for me, it's not 3 strikes and you're out. That was a bad recommendation. So I might look at the list and do one more. But if you make 2 bad movie recommendations, I'm out. I'm out, man. You got to come up with better movies than that. We'll get there. All right. Where is Cardano at? It didn't go below 38 cents, you said? Oh, we're at 41 right now. Okay. Let's continue the conversation. We're heading towards the top 20 here. Avalanche, we can take a quick look at. Keep in mind that if I'm choosing to spend my time with you, as I've said, if you actually follow a lot of the things that I share with you guys, and I don't know if I've shared this with you on YouTube, but I've certainly said this on Instagram, time to me is the most valuable resource that I have. So and believe me, I get tiddlywinks from this channel in terms of any revenue. It's not, if I was doing this channel for, at this point for any monetary gain, I'd be living in a van down by the river, all right? So if I'm choosing to spend my time with you going through this, understand it's purposeful and there's a reason for it. Get away from all this daily bullshit and clickbait that you're seeing out there on fear. Just like they say sex sells, emotional stuff sells. Fear, euphoria. We're getting away from those charts, right? We're just talking about the altcoins and which altcoins are expressing the greatest degree of strength. If we look at AVAX has been here in a general downtrend. I do like to see that we've tried to come up, excuse me. I do like to see that we've come up and tried to take out some of these lower highs from 2022. We didn't manage to, but we can see here we're in a general downtrend, right? General downtrend within price. So not the strongest of charts. The thing you'd want to look for in AVAX, but it's certainly not the weakest of charts. The thing you'd want to look for on AVAX, you want to hold up right here. If you start breaking down here, I will tell you this. If AVAX starts to break this area of support, which I'm sure at some point it will, inevitably in the coming years to come, but if it were to break this level here, you're increasing the likelihood of just a slow bleed down because there's not a lot of price confluence here. So this one, again, I'd look for local support here. Not the strongest of charts, not the weakest, sort of somewhere in the middle. Yeah, that's what I would say about that. So again, kind of assessing, we've gone through the top 12 so far, and just as a recap, I would say your strongest altcoins that seem the safest at this point seem to be Ethereum, Solana. Binance is number one by far. So you got Ethereum, Solana, Binance, Doge. Those are the ones that are strongest. We're not going to take a look at Tron. DOT. Let's take a look at DOT real quick. I feel like this thing hasn't done anything, so I'm not expecting much. Guys, what's there to say here? This is a shitty chart. Shitty altcoin performance. Unless something massively turns around in this chart, this is telling me that you can expect DOT to continue plummeting in ranking here. This is a horrible chart. Reminds me of Casper, honestly. Not Caspa, Casper. And why Casper's all the way down at like 150 market cap ranking. God knows where it's at this point. But this is a horrible chart. DOT looks horrible. Chainlink, guys, I got news for the Link Marines. The Link BTC chart last I looked wasn't the best, but we'll take a look. Maybe I stand corrected, actually. Is this a descending triangle? Now, this general uptrend here was beautiful, but what we've done now is, now I do like that we found support right in this area here. I don't want to break this line, because if I break this line, we are really running the risk that we're going to go a lot lower. A lot lower. So let this green line hold. We are in a general downtrend. Not the weakest that we've looked at. This is not a strong, let me be clear, this is not, this is not a strong chart. But it's by no means the weakest of charts we've looked at. At least we've gotten some decent bounces in here, but again, I'm not seeing a lot of strength here. This isn't anything to leave me feeling convinced that, let me put it to you this way. There isn't anything in this chart that leaves me convinced that Link's going to pull some massive move to the upside and it's going to jump into the top 10. I don't see that. Bitcoin Cash, we're going to skip. That one's in a tremendous downtrend. Uniswap. Let's take a look at Uniswap. I haven't looked at the Uni BTC chart in a long time. Not the healthiest. Again, we're looking at this on a monthly. Look at the general downtrend. Okay? And again, if you were holding this thing since 2022 and you didn't get into any of the newer projects that had more healthier charts, you've literally this entire time been losing value relative to Bitcoin. Okay? Just food for thought. So, not the healthiest of charts. Not really a big fan of this one. It's just not a strong chart. We got lower highs coming in, and we have lower lows. Look at the low here relative to here. So, not good. Again, I'm not giving you emotions here. I'm just giving you facts. Polygon, you guys know, for a while I've been bullish on Matic. Let's have an honest conversation about the chart. How's it doing? My guess is not the best lately. Yeah. If we look at the monthly, again, it was nice. It was nice to see. By the way, I saw a quick comment, Juan asking me what my first altcoin was. Litecoin was my first altcoin. I liked to see that this area right here was holding up a support. Now we lost it. Okay? Not liking the relative weakness that I'm seeing here. Now that we've lost this area, we're really in no man's land. In fact, we could bleed all the way down to here. In fact, I'm expecting it at this point. The odds are in the favor of the chart to go much further to the downside. Not saying we will. I'm not saying we will, but there is a potential move down of, roughly 50%. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But the strength in this chart is starting to fade. We had some nice resistance here that was tapped several times. And, if I was a betting man, the number of times we came up here, I would have bet that it would have broken because that resistance is going to come weaker every time you come up and keep hitting it. But 1, 2, 3, 4 separate times we came up. Wow. Yeah, we've just had some weakness. So not too crazy about the chart. Let's get to Litecoin. Speaking of Litecoin, guys, Litecoin. You know what? This reminds me, actually. I think we'll probably end at Litecoin, and we're not going to do near, and then we'll get into Pepe Caspa tomorrow. But I want to revisit XRP for a moment as well, because I want to really have an honest conversation on why I think some of the USD price targets are unreasonable. Guys, this is an extremely bearish chart. Come on, let's get real here. I mean, you don't have a single fucking higher high coming in here. This is 14. This is 15. Look at this. High, lower high in 15, lower high in 18, lower high in 2019, much lower high in 21, lower high in 23. I mean, come on, you're going to get a dead cat bounce. But for people shilling you that Litecoin's going to hit $1,000 or $1,200, what fucking chart are they looking at when you see this chart? That's what I would contend. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I want to really level set the conversation for you for a moment. And I thought about this actually before coming into the live stream, and I forgot to bring it up. Let's say that your expectation is that Litecoin is going to hit $1,000, okay? So, and I want to make sure. I know my math works, but I want to make sure that I have this right. Since I am live, it's like going up in front of a chalkboard in front of students. You go through that scenario and then you make stupid mistakes, right? Yeah. So if Litecoin is to get to $1,000, right? Is it reasonable to assume Litecoin could hit $1,000? Let's make an assumption that Litecoin's USD price peaks right around when Bitcoin is at $100,000, if Bitcoin even hits $100,000, right? So basically what I'm saying is, and you guys know if you've been following me closely, that sort of my predominant view is the blow off top in Bitcoin, somewhere around maybe 110, 120, 150 tops. So let's just say 110 to 150, right? So let's just say, based on that, Litecoin's not going to top at the exact time that Bitcoin has its euphoric top. As it starts to come back down and it's a little bit lower in value, that's when you're going to find your top coming in within Litecoin based on history. So let's assume it happens for simplicity, okay, for the sake of simplicity, at $100,000. That means that Litecoin's pairing has to come all the way up to this value. Is that possible? Well, if that were, we'd have to take out, keep in mind, this line right here. This is the top that we put in 2021. So you're telling me that we're, as much as this doesn't look super far away because we've been bleeding so much, what you're telling me is this pairing value has to break the orange line and has to go higher than it did in 2021. Now, I'm not a betting man. I don't gamble. But if someone told me to make a bet, I would say that wouldn't happen. Could it happen? Absolutely. But we would have to revisit heights we haven't seen since 2019. I just don't see it happening. Now, if we look at XRP, BTC. Of course, there's, I think, a lot of unreasonable price targets being given for XRP in the $20, $30 range. Okay, let's have an honest conversation, okay? Can I do this? Oh, nice, I can. Sweet. So if Bitcoin, let me do some math here. So, let me think about this. Let me set this a little higher. Okay, so if Bitcoin were to reach $100,000 and its current price today is 66,500, and that's a 1.5 appreciation to relative levels. So XRP hitting $20. Let me think about this. Right now we're sitting, where are we at? 50 cents. We're just, for the sake of simplicity, going to say 50 cents. So, and its value, okay. So to hit $20, XRP's USD value needs to do a 40x. So, give me 1 second. Sorry. All right, sorry. I actually appreciate what that call was about, but I can't believe it's happening this late in the evening. Okay, what we're saying is if XRP today hit a $20 price target, right, it would have to pull a 40x. Now, first off, ask yourself if it's reasonable, if you really think XRP is going to do a 40x. I mean, like, let's gut check here, guys, gut check. But a 40x from current price levels would take 40 times the 0.76, would take us all the way up to around these levels. Okay? Around these levels. So, and if the other thing to keep in mind is, wow. And the other thing to keep in mind is you're not accounting for the appreciation in Bitcoin's value. So Bitcoin would have to jump from 66,500 up to $100,000. That's an appreciation of 1.5. So we have to take the 30.84 and multiply it by 1.5. So 30.84. Glad I was able to do the math on the spot. I was getting a little nervous there. I'm like, come on, CBG, you're good with math. 46. It's when you're put in the pressure situations. So what we're saying is, if XRP hit a $20 price target, around when Bitcoin was at $100,000, we would have to go from here to up here. Does that really make any sense? I mean, not only is this chart bearish, but we'd have to take out all of these highs back here from 2017 and 18. And there's nothing in this chart telling us that that is remotely likely. Again, I'm giving you a view that is most probabilistic and informing you that if your expectation is XRP hitting $20 this year or next year, that is very, 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 very unlikely. Is it possible? Of course. This chart could blow up overnight. And if you want to believe people who think that all of a sudden the chart's going to do something that is statistically not likely, guys, again, if you want to follow your emotions and you don't want to be statistically minded and base your decisions not on empirical data, but on your gut instinct and what you're hearing about XRP or Litecoin or any other altcoin that is not doing well, that's going to change the world, you go for it. You make that decision. That's just not what we do on this channel. This chart is telling you it's it's super duper freaking highly unlikely XRP is going to hit $20 this year or next year. Furthermore, even if you were to say, will it hit $10, you're still saying that the XRP BTC relativity value would basically come up to prior all-time highs. Assuming XRP tops right around when Bitcoin is at $100,000, you're assuming, okay, if you're assuming XRP is going to hit $10 once Bitcoin's roughly at $100,000, you're assuming we're essentially coming all the way up to triple top at levels we haven't seen in 6 years. Ask yourself how likely that is. Again, there's nothing in this chart to tell you that. I will tell you what this chart is telling me. What this chart is telling me is XRP is going to have a hard time. I mean, serious conversation. Where could we expect the relativity value really to come up to? Well, I'd like to see a retest. I'd like to see a retest up to this region. Okay? Right up to this region. But what does that really tell us? I mean, well, that's telling us a USD value that's much lower. In fact, I'm not even going to share what that is with you because it's much lower. But that's what I would be looking for in the chart. Guys, if you appreciated the honest assessment, hit the thumbs up button, show a little bit of love. We got through the top 20. Tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to try to breeze through 20 through 50. I don't really know how many questions I'm going to take tomorrow because I want to keep running through these altcoins. We only got through the top 20, and we'll try to move a little bit faster. We're at 46 minutes. We'll try to get through these a little bit faster tomorrow, but that's what we're going to be doing this week. We're going to be assessing the relative strength of these altcoins and honestly determining which altcoins are strongest for a longer term hold and which ones will most likely outperform in the market relative to other altcoins, right? Because again, it's not that XRP and Cardano as examples, given their weak Bitcoin relativity charts, aren't going to outpace Bitcoin and won't do well. I think they will do well, okay, by the end of this cycle. But the stronger altcoin pairings should outperform in general these other tokens, okay? That's what the chart is telling you. And they're better longer term holds. So if you appreciate the content, hit the thumbs up button. Guys, I will be back here tomorrow. Thank you so much for showing up. And until next time, let's all spread awareness. Let's carry the education forward. Take care, guys.